another video. Today we're going to be making some bird feeders out of coconuts and all sorts of kind of seeds that I've got here. You've probably seen these in shops before. They look a little bit like that. Just half coconut shell, and they're usually filled with fat and seeds. I do these myself just because it makes it so much cheaper and it's really easy to do. I just use coconut shells from, if you've ever been to an Indian restaurant and you've had the coconut pudding, that's the coconut shell from that. Just bring them home every time, wash them out, drill a hole in the top and put a little string in there to hold it up, and I use these to feed the birds. So if you're going to do this at home, all you're going to need is something to put it in. I've seen it done with pine cones as well, so that can work. Pine cones rolled in fat or peanut butter, they quite like that. Some lard. Apologies to the vegetarians and vegans out there, but the birds need their fat. And then we've got Niger seed, peanuts and sunflower seeds. So the Niger seeds and the peanuts I use because I don't have specific feeders to fit those in, and the sunflower seeds are nice and cheap and just sort of bulk out the mix a little bit for us. So when I do this, I start by popping the coconut shells into a tray or onto a baking tray covered with foil, because the fat can sort of soak into the strings and leak out of the top a little bit sometimes. So you kind of want something to stop the mess getting all over your countertops. In there, fill them with the seeds that you want to put in there, and then you melt your fat and pour it over the top. It's really, really simple. So I'm going to do that now. I usually start off with a mixture of the peanuts and sunflower seeds because they're the biggest. The Niger seed I sort of pour over the top at the end just to fill it out a little bit, because although the birds need their fat for energy, I don't want to make them, you know, podgy birds. You will probably end up with seeds going everywhere while you're doing this, but that's okay. You can tidy that up later. So the Niger seed is really fine. It's tiny little seeds, so I spoon those into the coconuts just to try and stop them from going everywhere. So I filled the shells to just below where the holes are for the strings, because the layer of fat is going to be just above the top of that, just to cover it all and protect it all when you go outside. Like I said, really simple. I just sort of mix the sunflower seeds and peanuts together a little bit so that they're evenly spaced, and then the Niger seeds fill in all the gaps for you. So I just pop them over the top. So to melt the lard of the coconut shells, I literally just put them in one of the jugs like this, into the microwave, melt it down really gradually, not too much all in one go because you don't want it to explode everywhere. So gradually melt it, and then you can just pour it over the top of the coconuts. So I'm going to go microwave this now. So I've melted the lard. Not going to lie to you, it's not the most pleasant smell in the world. Did it gradually, minute at a time, probably took overall about 6 minutes to melt one block. Not sure if I'm going to need more. I did used to have way more coconuts, but over time sometimes they sort of split and crack and then they don't hold anything anymore, so I have lost a few over time. So start with one block, and if you need any more you can just melt a little bit more to add to the shells. Before you pour in, make sure your coconuts are sitting flat. These little trays that I use are quite useful because they're ridged in the bottom, so if you put something with a curved surface on it, it is going to sit flat and smooth over the tops of the seeds as well. And we do that with a spoon, just sort of tap it down so that it's kind of flat. And then very, very gently pour the fat over the top. If you see any large leaks coming out the bottoms, you've probably got a bad shell and you can just discard that one. After you pour the fat in, it will find its way around all of your seeds into the bottom of the shells, and it will level out a little bit, and you'll know whether or not you need to add any more lard to them. I didn't, one was enough for mine. So I've got 5 coconut shells, and 1 block of lard was enough to do all of them with a tiny bit left over. This one is a little bit leaky. You might find that having them flat is no good. You have to have them tipped up ever so slightly so that they don't pour out the side too much. But as long as there's fat over each seed, it will still hold together when you put them outside. So as you can see, that was really simple. they're now going to set over time as they cool. The lard will solidify again and then be ready to put out in your garden. Of course, if you put them out in summer, put them in a shady spot because they will melt and end up all over the floor. That's not particularly fun. And they're really good in winter though, because in winter that's when the birds need most of their energy and it's harder for them to find their own natural food. So this is a really good way to help them out through particularly harsh winters. As you are dealing with hot fat, you can give yourself some really nasty burns, so do be careful. If you're doing this with kids, make sure you supervise them all the way through. But yeah, that's about it really. You can do this with things other than seeds or different types of seeds. I used to do it with leftover food scraps that we probably weren't going to use, so like chopped up bits of broccoli stalk or bits of leaf, carrot, things like that. Cooked rice as well. You can put cooked rice in them. I stopped doing that just because a couple of rats started turning up and the neighbours weren't very happy about that. There weren't many of them, but they rather liked the food scraps, so I stopped doing that. But if you've got enough birds in your garden to warrant feeding them that little bit extra and you think they're going to go through it really, really quickly, totally worth you saving your food scraps for them. If you are confused about what you can feed your birds, you can go to the RSPB website. There is a really useful list of foods that they can and can't eat on there. And I looked through that an awful lot before doing these. So yeah, do your research and you'll know exactly what you can feed your birds. But yeah, hopefully this has been useful. It's short today, really short because it's such a simple recipe to do. Yeah, give it a go. Feed your birds. Thanks guys. See ya.